Kings of War Battle Report. This is Forces of the Abyss versus Forces of Nature. This is versus the legendary Jeff Trash from Australia, game number 1 of 2. I am a casually competitive gamer, and I make concise battle reports that focus on tactical takeaways to improve our game. Welcome to Newbie Dice. Alright, so it all started with Jeff sending me a private message on Facebook and said that he liked my battle reports for Kings of War and he'd like to have a game with me sometime. So I was like, yeah, somebody loves my battle reports. And so I was pretty excited to play against him as well because if you guys know, he's the champion for Australia for Kings of War. He has won many tournaments in Australia and he's also the winner of the Call to Arms League that I played in. And as well, he's also in Australian league right now, online league, and he's currently leading in the moment. So when he contacted me, he's midway through the league and he's playing Night Stalkers. So when we played, he decided to have a little bit of a palette cleanser. So he tried a Forces of Nature list. He ran this list for the first time. First thing that pops up is 6 regiments of Centaur Brace Riders. So Centaur Brace Riders are pretty interesting. They are at this unique point range because most knights are about 200 points. So the Centaurs are 155, but there are also less attacks and lower in defense. So he ran a lot of it, spamming a lot of it. So to cover up for the lower defense, he used more chaff. So he has 3 Forest Wardens and 3 Pegasus. But one of the Forest Warden has Inspiring Talisman. So on hindsight, that's probably going to stay back most of the game, but this is the possible chaff that he has. In terms of shooting, he only has 2 shooting, which is the Druid with Alchemist Curse and Ani Banu with his Piercing 4 Breath. Okay, so my list, my Abyssal list, I tweaked it a little bit. For 2000 points, I've actually dropped my Tortured Souls to 3 regiments, and I removed 1 Gargoyle so that I can fit Abyssal Horseman with Potion of the Caterpillar. So why this change is because I found that whenever I have to charge into terrain, the Tortured Souls hitting on 5 is quite terrible. Even on flanks, they might not do much damage. So having a unit with Pathfinder will help me when I need to fight in this terrain. So the bad thing about making this change is it makes my 2 sides, I like to split flyers on 2 sides and my speedy stuff on 2 sides. So it makes it a little bit uneven. The side with the horseman is the stronger side. So that would sort of project to the enemy which side I'm focusing on. So on to deployment. So the scenario we got was raise, and so this was how we deployed. From deployment, my focus was to concentrate on the left side because these 2 are quite near. Right, the opponent has more units, so I need to concentrate my forces because if I spread too thin, he would outnumber me. So I was already about to give up this raise token on the right side, but I would want to delay his forces as long as I can. So make him spend as much resource as I can for him to take up this token before he can spend the forces going to the left side. So that is why my lava is deployed here, and I saw this wall over here, and I immediately knew that okay, I'm gonna delay him over here as much as I can. So that's also why I put the gargoyle here, a little cheap chaff, to also help slow things down on the right side while I try to deal with the left side. So Basusu is in the center so that it can support left or right wherever is needed. So my only 2 inspiring sources, the Well of Souls and the Archfiend on the left side. So next is Vanguard. So he has 2 Vanguarding units. He has 3. The Forest Warden and the 3rd Forest Warden in the middle is actually inspiring. Let me talk a little bit about his deployment as well, so you can see his Centaur spread across the board. Thing to note is the Pegasus are all not on the line. It's not on the deployment line, and his 2 shooters are deployed together. Okay, so after that we roll off the initiative. He won the initiative and he got me to go first. So that is pretty telling that he's very confident in his deployment. He's fine, he don't need to adjust. He rather have the final turn. Okay, so here I go. I started this take measure that I drew, this horizontal take measure that I drew. and it's the top of the tape measure, that means this side. Yeah, it's the threat range of all his centaurs, the 16-inch threat range. So I decided to stop all my forces stop short of the 16-inch threat range, and because of these Pegasus deployed behind, not on the line, so they also do not threat so far. Yeah, the 20-inch is also not far off beyond this line, so nothing could charge me at this round, except the 2 Forest Warden up in front. So what I did on the left side, let's talk about the left side first. I positioned my stuff this way, firstly to protect the race token, and I left a too small a gap that nothing can charge my Abyssal Archfiend. So this Forest Warden is unable to charge the Archfiend because of the gap that's too small, and that would also mean these Pegasus would not be able to charge. I think they're out of range anyway. So what else? So the right side, my lava went up to stand in front of the objective to contest it. When the opponent charge, it will charge through the obstacle. Yeah, this central portion just postured upwards. So I also positioned this gargoyles and this tortured souls on the right side, that even if his Forest Warden charged in, I would be able to flank him, so that it's not a favorable charge for him as well. So on to shooting, I shot the Archfiend at this Forest Warden, dealt 2, and with a lucky die roll, I wavered it. Warlock, shot a Blizzard at Pegasus and dealt 5 wounds, and I wavered it as well. So very lucky start to my shooting phase. I felt that I had the superior shooting because Agni Banu, it threats 18-inch, a 6-inch move, and a 12-inch breath. Yeah, and the Druid threats 21-inch, it has a 9-inch move and a 12-inch Alchemist Curse. But the Tortured Souls, being defense 4, are not very viable targets to shoot the Alchemist Curse at, and he couldn't get far up enough to shoot at other juicier targets, or he might risk his Druid dying. So that's one of the considerations that he will need to have. Bottom of 1, so he pushed his forces up, hiding his Druid behind the monster, because it is a juicy target for Blizzard, and it's also behind the hill, which is height 2. So my height 2 Warlock will not be able to see the Druid while it's behind the hill and behind the monster. Let's talk about the left side. So this Forest Warden backed up. Now one thing he could have done was to pivot a little bit because of Nimble and backed up a little bit at an angle, and he would be within 3-inch of this race token. So right now he's not. So this blue box is the measurement of 3 inches. He's out of 3 inches of the race token. Most of the centaurs just positioned upwards, and he pushed upwards like so. Okay, the centaurs on the right side stood on the race token. That also means that at this stage it's out of range to charge. It's more than 16. Okay, why he had to do that? Because he had to protect it from my gargoyles, who can make a 1 pivot and a 20-inch fly to catch it. Yeah, so I'm trying to delay the right side of the combat. So we'll see what I do next. I have quite a few charged targets. So after moving all my flyers up, my flyers threat 20 while his centaurs only threat 16. So I looked at all their front arcs. So drawing all their front arcs. So of course charging one of these 2 centaurs that's on the hill is not worthwhile. Okay, because once I bounce off, you will be able to flank me. Okay, and even if I charge this, let's say this center one, then I'll be threatened by centaurs on 2 sides. Yeah, so I can't possibly face both of them. So that is definitely out for me. And same thing if I charge this one that's in front of Agni Banu, that I'll be threatened by centaurs from 2 sides. Actually even 3. This one can see all the way here. So I draw the front arc of the fire elementals as well. So then I saw one opening, which was this unit of centaurs. There was very little options for charging. If I charge this unit of centaurs, there's very little things he can counterattack with. It's just namely this Pegasus over here, okay, the central Pegasus. So this is the one that I went for. So I sent Basusu, Well of Souls, this Tortured Souls. By charging this 3, I have a very good chance of taking it out. And even if I don't, even if I rolled abysmally, the counter attack would not be terrible for me. So let's see what happened next. So my Tortured Souls on the left side was thinking about whether to charge the centaurs, but because it's inside terrain, I would just tickle it and then it would die terribly. So I decided against it. Yeah, this Agni Banu will have charged me as well. And I saw that because it's out of 3 inches, so instead I did the scenario play, raise, I just need to reach there and I take off the token. So that's where I flew, and I'll take off this token at the end of this turn. So my Archfiend stood here to defend, did a lightning bolt, but probably didn't do much. Looking at things, I think the Blizzard also did not do anything. That's the thing with Blizzard, sometimes it's amazing, sometimes it doesn't do much. Next, let's talk about here. So I charged these 3 units here. I did 12, so the average would have been 12 to 13 wounds. So his nerf is 16, and I rolled on the reroll I rolled a 3, so 12 plus 3 15, so I did wavered it instead. So that's the skull token over there. The inspiring came from this Forest Warden, which has an inspiring talisman. The worst happened, I did not route it, so but looking at this, well, the Pegasus can see the Well of Souls or Basusu, but now he has no landing space on the Well of Souls because these centaurs are stuck here and he can't move the centaurs away because it is the Pegasus that's blocking him, so he couldn't charge. So his only option, if you really want to, is to charge Basusu. Okay, everything else is not able to see. This Abyssal Horseman, I think he backed up, staying out of threat range of the Centaurs. So I think the Centaur threatened, both were within 16, so they have equal threat ranges, so both were within 16 of the Horseman, so instead I backed up, so while contesting this race token. So race, you have to be really careful. The moment you leave it unguarded for a while, the opponent can just take it off and that's it. He continues moving. So let's talk about the right side. So I did this funky little formation here. Why did I do that? So that I can get 4 unit strength on this race token. Okay, if I kept my lava straight, it'd be hard for me to fit the gargoyles unless I push the lava forward a lot, which I don't want to. And at this point, this is still out of threat range, and I sort of locked him there because if the centaur left the race token, my gargoyles would fly over and catch it. So he's stuck there. He needs to protect the race token. So I was very happy with this stalemate on the right side. And next turn, bottom of 2. This, let's start from left to right. So the left side, the centaurs charge the Tortured Souls that was standing in front of the token. So it's an average of 8 hits, 2 to wounds, 6 to 7 wounds. If he dealt 7 wounds, that's 8 to rout. So it's not too bad, and he got it. So in one round, quite terrifying that the centaurs being so cheap could one round the Tortured Souls. But the Tortured Souls has done its job. It picked up the race token. Hopefully, with this trade, I'm down by 145 points, but I still have enough pieces to continue this matchup. His central Pegasus flew up to block my Horseman from charging, and then this Forest Warden came up to threaten the Horseman and the lower Abyssals. Centaurs that's here, the second one on the hill, charged the lower Abyssals, dealt 8 damage, still fine. So this stuff came up to threaten the center. And ooh, where's this from? I think he was inside the forest. So he came up because now finally his Forest Warden came up to block my lava, and so he could shift his centaurs up. Now he had one Pegasus here. It did a horizontal fly. So now with the Pegasus protecting the token, his centaurs can finally start to shuffle upwards to threaten this side. Oh, these 2 shooters breathed into the Well of Souls, dealing 8 damage in total. And the Pegasus, yeah, the Pegasus flew here, so he did not fight Basusu. So my 3 units here were untouched other than from shooting, but also they have nothing good to fight. So they're still facing off the unit. The only target is the unit that should have died the previous round. Of course, Basusu could turn around and face anywhere, so that's what I did with it. So let's see in the next picture. So Abyssal Horseman took out the Pegasus. I'm not sure why it decided to face this way. I think it wanted to face the rest of the action, which is down here. It wanted to support the center, so it faced this way. Okay, exposing the flank to the Forest Warden, which I thought, okay, I can take 6 hits to the side. It's doable. My Archfiend, let's see where he was in the previous round. He was here. Saw an opening once again. Nothing is within 3 inches of this token, so it flew 20 inches to pick up the token. And I'm not sure if this, I'm pretty sure this is out of charge range. That's why I flew here. So I think it's only a hit from this front centaurs. Okay, I sent the Well of Souls because it has Life Leech 5, right? So I sent the Well of Souls to hit the centaurs that was wavered previous round because he has Life Leech 5, so I want to heal. I took one off from the lower Abyssals as well. So he started at 9, and sadly he only dealt 2 wounds, so he healed to 7. Basusu went off to fight somewhere else because Anibanu on the hill is height 6. I charge past Well of Souls to hit it. So the whole point is to stop him from shooting, and that'll try a tremendous 5 damage as well. My Tortured Souls that was here in front of the Centaurs decided to fly 10 inches and double pivot to face the back of his entire army. I could have charged the Centaurs again and then pivot, but I decided to do this because I just need 1 damage to put the Centaurs on snakes. And if I snakes, then that would be terrible. So instead, I decided to fly off. And since it's healthy, it doesn't need to life leech anything. The central here, let's look at the previous picture. So I did 2 charges to kill off the Centaurs, front and the flank. Okay, with regen and Well of Souls taking away 1, is now at 4. Okay, and I put this Tortured Souls on the hill to block off charge to the lower abyssals. Okay, so the fire elementals could still see the lower abyssals, but you couldn't get that in 1 pivot because if it moves straight, it will hit my Tortured Souls. So it needs to pivot away, and then he doesn't have a second pivot to charge back. So this was protecting. So since he has already brought his Pegasus here to protect the loot token, so my Gargoyles did what it needs to do, delay the Centaurs for 1 round, dealt 2 damage, which was not bad. So next, bottom of 3, his turn. So this Centaurs moved up. This Forest Warden flanked the Abyssal Horseman. These Centaurs charged at the Archfiend, dealing 5. Okay, and I think the Centaurs and the Fire Elementals both killed off the Tortured Souls that was here. This Center Forest Warden, which has Inspiring, decided to move this way to sort of support this combat against the Archfiend. So with Ani Banu not able to shoot, it charged Basusu and dealt 2 damage. Druid on the hill went for Alchemist Curse, so dealt 3 damage, so now I'm at 10, still not dead yet. These Centaurs, not surprisingly, took off the Gargoyles, and since no more Gargoyles to threaten that raise token, his Pegasus started to fly this way. So I knew that my Archfiend needed to kill off these Centaurs very badly, so I sent the Archfiend in along with Basusu from the side, from the back. So that was what I did over here. So that is 9 plus 8, 17 attacks. 2/3 will hit. So that will be about 12. And since they are vicious, anything but once with reroll, so it should deal about 11 to 12 wounds, and I managed to rout them. And so my Archfiend faced this way, with only the Centaurs from the front, and he expected this, so that's why he moved his Forest Warden, very smart play from Jeff, to support this combat, right? So the Abyssal Horseman countercharged the Forest Warden on the side and killed it off. So my 2 flyers, that after killing the Wavered Centaur, they were facing here, so they went in to support the middle. So I did a double charge on these Centaurs, dealt 9, and then these Tortured Souls went in for the Fire Elementals. So this lava just repositioned to guard the token once again. So you can see that there's some damage here on the Ani Banu 5. Did quite a lot of damage here. There's a little bit of damage here. So let's see what happens next. So firstly, as expected, a flank and a front from the Centaurs. So let's see how much damage should have been dealt. So each Centaur should have 12 attacks, should have about 8 hits and about 5 wounds. This one should have 6 attacks, 4 hits and about 3 wounds. So 8. So he dealt quite averagely 8 and 17, 19. But he did not rout Waver or rout the Archfiend. These 2 shooters were free, and it shot this Well of Souls that died. And this Fire Elementals went into the Tortured Souls that also died. Might be a double charge from this Pegasus as well. Let me see the previous picture. Maybe not. So the Pegasus is just positioning himself. I see this token, so I think this combo charge on the Centaurs wavered it, so it didn't do anything. So that's why my lower abyssals are still on 2 damage. So his Centaur starts to pivot around, but he was trying to avoid my lava, because if I charge him and I slow him down, that might make things difficult for him. So top of 4 was a very big turn for me. Top of 5, sorry. So what happened? The horseman rear charged the centaurs. Yeah, Horseman rear charged the centaurs. The Archfiend went into the Forest Warden. Basusu went into Anibanu. Warlock Blizzard onto the Druid. And let's see what happens. What else happened? So I killed off the centaurs from the Abyssal Horseman. I did not kill the Forest Warden, so took 4. Basusu killed Anibanu. 2 attacks against Anibanu in total, and I killed it. I got a lucky roll. That's also, I think, because I rolled. I killed with Blizzard the Druid, which has Inspiring, and then after that, got a high nerf roll on Anibanu, which killed it as well. So the lower Abyssals charged Centaurs again and killed it. This Lava was just trying to position, still guarding that token within 3 inches, but trying to get position rear charges on them. So this was a pretty devastating turn. And next, so the Pegasus flew over to take this objective. Oh wow, the Forest Warden was wavered, so he couldn't even fight. And his Fire Elementals decide to get off the hill. So by being off the hill, I can't see his Fire Elementals. Yeah, I can't see his. And so my turn. I charged at the bird. I think I wavered it. The Archfiend decided to move up to Lightning Bolt, I think, at this. And I Blizzard at this, so I dealt some damage. I pivoted my lower Abyssal so that I can see it to charge next round. My Lava decided to stop the Centaurs. And this Horseman positioned upwards, but on hindsight, initially he can't see. Yeah, so he moved upwards and I didn't position it well, so at the end they still can't see. So there is a turn 7, so he charged in. And he's still majority off the hill. So yeah, the Pegasus is wavered. So he moved back. And then this Forest Warden started going for the raise token. This one counter charged. This one charged in. And so my lower Abyssals counter charged and killed the Fire Elementals. Archfiend and the Blizzard shot at it and killed it off. And Basusu charged at the Forest Warden and dealt another 4 damage and wavered it. And so at this point, he conceded because there's nothing much left to do. All he could do was to charge the Centaurs at the Lava, which will not be able to route it. And that's it. So let's talk about takeaways. So always have a plan for scenario. So from the start, I already knew that I want to win the left side and I want to delay the right side. And I managed to delay it for very long. I pretty much kept that Centaur unit there for the whole game. So that was a plus to me. And hey, I managed to keep the raise token, which was great as well. So take advantage if you have superior shooting by holding back. So I had longer range shooting. It's not that my shooting is stronger, but I had longer range shooting. So I decided to hold back for that first turn. And it did well. I did 5 damage and 2 damage. So I did 7 damage in total. So it was not bad. So always look for a scenario advantage. So this is talking about especially raise. The moment I saw an unguarded token, I weighed it and I decided, okay, it's worthwhile to go for it. So I took 2 tokens because there was no opponents near the tokens. Okay, so try to find as safe charges as possible. So we all get very upset when we charge and what should be a route ended up not routing. Right, that was my triple charge against the first unit of Centaurs. I should have dealt 13, which would have brought it to Snakes category. I dealt 12, just 1 below average, and I rolled 3 for my second reroll. And things like that happen. And luckily, because I chose a charge that has a minimal backlash when I fail to route the enemy, so the game wasn't going to hell just because of that. Next, guard all angles as best as you can. You don't get to see it in these screenshots, but Jeff really guarded all his angles very well. So especially he's aware of all the shooting and all the flyers, the 10-inch flyers that has 20-inch threat. He's always aware of it and he protected against them very well. And this is a very good play from Jeff, who used the heal to block line of sight a lot of time to prevent me from charging and shooting at his stuff. So that's it. So that is the first of our 2 games, and we played a second game a few days later, and I just finished that game. And he was playing his Night Stalkers, which was his main army in A Call to Arms and his current league. So he's giving no mercy in the next game. So do subscribe to be notified the moment that video comes out, and do like this video if you enjoyed the battle report, and stay tuned for the next one.